Well, good evening, friends. Father Frank Pavone here, National Director of Priests for Life. Hope you saw the President's rally tonight from North Carolina. An immense crowd, and another great rally, bringing the support of the people out from across this land as they continue to wake up. Voters are waking up to what the president has to say and what the choice is that is right before us now during this election. Let's take a little prayer from my book, Pro-Life Reflections for Every Day. In the order of Mass, we read, "Deliver us, Lord, we pray, from every evil. Graciously grant peace in our days." Reflection: peace is a fragile gift and a key characteristic of the culture of life. We pray for peace in the midst of every Eucharist, and we work to remove the obstacles to receiving peace. Reverence for life opens the way to peace. Truth and justice provide its foundation. Relationships of mutual love preserve it. Let us pray. Grant us peace, O Lord, as well as the courage to defend life. May government leaders and their citizens rejoice in your peace. Amen. Well, if you don't have this book yet, ProLifeReflectionsForEveryday.com is where you can order it. A lot of great things are happening. One of you was asking what my advice is for deacons and priests who are voting for Biden. You know, one of the things, let's show a website here. I just got the domain TrumpandCatholics.com. TrumpandCatholics.com. And when you go to that web address, you will see this list. I actually have shown this to you before, but this is the first time we got that particular web address, TrumpandCatholics.com. But as you see, the document says Catholic voters have many reasons to support President Trump, and it goes down a long list of accomplishments with links to some of the original source material for giving people concrete, objective, verifiable details about each of these accomplishments, lest they think we're just making them up or exaggerating. And all of these things are of particular interest or concern or value to Catholics. For example, look at the first one. Catholics, because we love our church, are grateful that President Trump protected dioceses, Catholic schools, and countless ministries in numerous ways from having to choose between breaking the law or violating their faith. And that, of course, a good example was the HHS mandate. We had to fight it at Priests for Life. Little Sisters of the Poor had to fight it. Catholic University of America, the Archdiocese of Washington, the Diocese of Pittsburgh, of Erie, Thomas Aquinas College, various Christian universities, and many, many, many more ministries were under this mandate. President Trump freed us from it. Biden says he would put it back. So a Catholic priest or deacon supporting Biden, what I'd like to know is, what do you have against the church? What do you have against these ministries that you would support a man who wants to oppress them? I mean, is it that these priests and deacons are unaware? I mean, if they're unaware, they're failing in their responsibility to know these things. If they're aware and they don't see the danger, they're failing in their responsibility to protect the church. So either way, it isn't very good for them. So that's what, and then that's just one example. And on this document, again, that you can find at TrumpandCatholics.com, you'll see a whole bunch of other examples of this, reasons why we really do have to be supporting the president if we're Catholic. You know, being Catholic doesn't mean supporting a Catholic candidate. Being Catholic means supporting a candidate who has the interests of the Catholic Church at heart. Those are two different things. Anybody can call themselves a Catholic. Anybody can call themselves anything. But are you working in the interests of the church? Are you advancing the values that the church holds? Like Mary is saying, Biden totes his Catholicism. Yeah, well, you've read in the Gospels, beware of those who go around, seeking the front seats in the synagogues and, wanting to be noticed, widening their phylacteries. What Jesus was saying against the Pharisees, we say about Biden. That you don't use your religion as some kind of a flag, to draw attention to yourself. For he's using it for political gain. You don't do that. The Lord said you don't do these things in order to be seen. You don't use your religious identity as a way of getting a position of political power. That's not good with God. The Lord doesn't like that too much. There's another website. Now, some of you that listen to the various broadcasting that I do throughout the day, or actually if you listened last night, no, not last night. When was it? It was recently. We replayed the. It might have been earlier today. The interview I did on the Terry and Jesse show. I set up another website called electionhonesty.com. Now, electionhonesty.com brings you. Are we showing this page right now? It brings you to a page that says "Blowing Apart a Dozen Myths about President Trump." Well, not only are they myths, they're lies. They're outright lies. And, it's one thing for people to be ignorant about what a candidate says or what a president says. But it's quite another thing to be deliberately, willfully ignorant or maliciously distorting the truth. Biden, Harris, the left-wing radicals in this country, deliberately distort the truth about President Trump and his positions and his accomplishments. These are a dozen myths about the president that we have. When we say blowing them apart, you'll see on this document links to various other documents, news reports, things that disprove what the particular lie is. For example, let me go through this very quickly. President Trump, lie number one. He said COVID was a hoax and had no plan to combat it. 145, how about 145 plans? Congress just came out with a report. The link is there. You'll see each and every document, each and every plan that was both prepared with the help of tens of thousands of experts, prepared and carried out. We have had tremendous success in this country. Like Dr. Deborah Birx said, if everything were to be done perfectly, we would lose about 200,000 people. And if everything were done perfectly, she said, nobody had or has any kind of magic wand against this virus. Look at all the other countries of the world. There's not a single one of these other leaders that the left in America is blaming. And yet people died in countries all around the world. So lie number two, the president made disparaging comments about the military. He did not. And those who were with him on the trip where he allegedly said such things have said he did not. The president instituted a Muslim ban. We've talked about that at some length on this program. It was a security measure. It wasn't targeting Muslim countries. It was targeting countries that sponsor terror or cannot adequately vet the people leaving those countries. Lie number four, the president won't denounce white supremacy. He did multiple times publicly, and the links there show you that he did. So stop saying it, Biden. Stop saying it, Harris. Stop saying it, Democrat Party. Stop saying it, left-wing Biden supporters. The president hates white supremacy. Lie number five, president is a racist. That video clip there, stillnotracist.com, is a good one, but there's no evidence of that whatsoever. Lie number six, President Trump is against immigrants. Well, yeah, that's why his wife is an immigrant and he welcomes immigrants into this country. He says they need to come in legally. Saying they need to come legally doesn't mean that you are against them any more than if you say to a driver you shouldn't go through a red light. That doesn't mean you're against drivers. Lie number 7, the president did not pay his taxes. There's not a single dime of taxes that he owed that he did not pay. The left is trying to manipulate and create a story based on the way that he paid, the way that he utilizes the tax code based on how much he's putting into the economy through his business career and his ventures. He did not avoid. He did not fail to pay what he owed. Lie number 8, President Trump puts kids in cages. That's a ridiculous, absolutely childish statement. The holding areas at the border were built by President Obama. They have fences, so you can see through them, like, or you see around a playground. Fences around. You call that a cage? You don't call that a cage. These are facilities to keep the kids safe for the maximum 72 hours if they came across the border unaccompanied. First of all, why are they coming across the border unaccompanied? Somebody else has done something very bad against those children first. And that's the evil that the president's trying to stop, by the way. People don't care much about their children, Just imagine the parents, talking to each other. Hey, honey, where did Johnny go? Oh, yeah, I don't know. He's walking across into the neighboring country. I mean, this is absurd. But no, it's not cages. It's a facility designed to keep the children safe. And just because the rooms, these big rooms, have fences, the left, they're sick. They're sick, and they twist it and they make you think like it's a dog in a cage. President Trump is not a Christian. Yes, he is. He's a Presbyterian. He has manifested his faith many times. He's a man of prayer. Pastors that I know that minister to him make it very clear how much of a Christian he is. Lie number 10, he's a tyrant and dictator. Well, dictators don't go around saying we're restoring power to you, the American people, by cutting government regulations left and right, respecting the role of Congress to make laws. The president has never overstepped the boundaries of the authority of his office, and he's doing just the opposite. He's restoring more power to us, the American people. Just read the policies. People who like to bounce these slogans around, they don't have too much ability to actually read the policies. Lie number 11, he's a narcissist and a bad person. He's actually very unselfish, giving away. How many other politicians they give away their paycheck? Make a list, count them. I know they're coming out the woodwork, right? They're all over the place. Can't turn around without finding a politician that gives away his paycheck. You want to see a narcissist in politics? Look at the communist rulers of China telling Christians, take down the pictures of Jesus in your house and put up my picture instead. President Trump, on the other hand, he's always saying that family and faith, not government and bureaucracy, are the American way. That's a direct quote of something he says very frequently in his rallies. And then finally, lie number 12, he disrespects women, or just very much the opposite, starting with the women in his own family and the women that he has placed on the presidential staff. As you see some statistics there, 48% of the overall White House staff are women. It's not a small percentage. So, and the story, a lot of this nonsense is people who are saying these things, they've never met him. They don't know him. I've had the chance to interact with him. I interact every day with people that work closely with him. They only speak of him as a man who has the highest respect for those around him. He's a good guy. He's a very good guy. Electionhonesty.com, electionhonesty.com, and you'll see the challenge that we, brothers and sisters, we together, you and I, are making a challenge to voters. Be honest. Despite your political affiliations, be honest. Don't take a lie that has been proven to be a lie and keep repeating it. But at the highest levels of the Democrat Party, that's exactly what they do. They did it in the debates. No doubt tomorrow night. Now, tomorrow night there's another debate, so let's talk about this a little bit. No doubt Biden will do the same thing. And the moderator, who is not neutral, will do the same thing. They'll do the same thing. They'll take these lies Doesn't matter how many times the president denounces white supremacy, they'll just ask him why he doesn't denounce white supremacy. It's ridiculous what they do. And it's got to be called out. And if that's what these people do on the other side, these are not the kind of people you want leading your country. And this can be, for any honest, undecided voter, you point this out to them. Let them see that website. If they're a Catholic, let them see the other website too. Again, this one is election honesty. The other one is Trump and Catholics. We always get the .com, .org, .net, so they all three of those extensions work. So tomorrow night, we've got this. It was supposed to be the third presidential debate. It's really late in the process. I mean, millions of people have voted already without having had the benefit of listening to another period of debate with these two presidential candidates. But it's, they indicated the topics for the debate, things like COVID and climate change and leadership and various things. Usually the third debate of a presidential election season is about foreign policy. But foreign policy is one of the very, very clear differences between these two candidates right now, where President Trump is succeeding in ways that other presidents have only dreamed of succeeding. The Middle East peace accord with Israel, this hasn't been done in more than 25 years. The Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, for 52 years, attempts have been made to get that done. President Trump got it done in 2 hours. North Korea, the never-Trumpers, they were saying, he's going to get us into a war with North Korea. Whatever happened to the war? Didn't happen. He was able to calm down the tensions with North Korea by going and talking to the guy. So have anybody ever talked to the guy, the dictator over there? China. NATO, he got NATO to start paying their fair share of the dues. He got China to stop ripping us off of tens of billions of dollars. In fact, he's got them to start paying us tens of billions of dollars. It's amazing what he's been able to accomplish with foreign policy. And you're not going to bring that up in the debate? I wonder why. You don't want to make Trump look good and Biden look bad. Biden has cozied up to China for all his career. Wanting to get China into the World Trade Organization, which Biden strongly supported, took away millions of American jobs. It's bad for America. Biden doesn't know how to do foreign policies. And now these other things that are coming out raise a lot of important questions, So what about, Nancy is asking, what about Obama speaking for Biden? It's a sign of the weakness of the campaign. Interesting that, isn't it, that Obama did not endorse Joe Biden until pretty late in the game. When all those, what was it, at one point, 25 different Democrat candidates were vying for the nomination. Obama did not favor one or the other. And even after Biden got the nomination, Obama didn't come out for him. Obama knows this guy. And it's why is Obama out there speaking for him and Biden puts a lid on for 5 out of the last 6 days? Where is he? He's not even campaigning. And people might say, he's spending these days preparing for tomorrow's debate. You don't shut down for 5 days in order to do that. When you're president of the United States, if you have some kind of summit meeting, if you have some kind of important deliberation that has to take place, you don't have the leisure to say, okay, I'm going to put a lid on for 5 days. I'm not going to even appear in public. You don't have that kind of leisure when you're president of the United States. Listen, the guy's not going to be able to handle the job if he were to be elected to it. He wouldn't be able to handle the job. That is what is on display right now. And people need to pay attention to that. He hasn't got the energy. He hasn't got the drive. Meanwhile, President Trump just got finished doing that rally in North Carolina. I'm going to be with him on Friday here in Florida. He's coming back to Florida for a rally, just about 2 hours from here. He is campaigning like crazy and at the same time fulfilling the duties of President of the United States. It's amazing. He was able to accomplish all the things he accomplished with an obstructionist Congress, with a fake impeachment going on, and all kinds of other phony investigations that the Democrats conjured up. And still he gets record amounts of things done. Record amounts. It's truly amazing. Walter is saying a good comment here. First of all, let me say something to Sally. How many of the toss-up states are flipping to President Trump? I can tell you this from the internal information. Every single one of them is winnable right now. He's either ahead, tied, or within the margin of error. We are seeing tremendous polling, the internal polling. Remember, these public polls, first of all, whom are they asking, and what is their methodology? If the same outlets that have been speaking against and trying to destroy the presidency of Donald Trump every single day for the last 4 years are the ones who are saying to you, hey, here is what the polls say, no thanks. I'll look at what the campaigns are saying. And no, we've got very, very strong momentum. I mean, look, nobody's taken Minnesota on the Republican side since 1972, Jocelyn. And now the momentum there is in President Trump's favor. He's leading in a lot of these states. And but Walter is saying now, Father, it seems nothing makes sense these days. It's a sad time for true Catholics. Help us understand. Biden and the Dems will use the Pope's words to get votes. Yeah, and the Pope doesn't like that too much, I can tell you that. I worked at the Vatican for a while under John Paul II. And you know, the Pope is a head of state. So he has to meet with heads of state from around the world. For a person to think, or for a person to try to make the case to other people that, oh, because I was with the Pope, he therefore endorses my position, is total nonsense. The Pope would be contradicting himself day in and day out because he meets with so many different people of so many different backgrounds, persuasions, convictions, policy preferences, etc. You can't use a photo op with the Pope or even a meeting with the Pope to try to claim that he agrees with you on things. That's number one. And then, of course, they'll try to take his words, like you're saying, and try to make it seem like he's on their side, the side of the Democrats. The Pope does not like when people try to draw him into political preferences and arguments. And you know, the Pope is not, you know, he had, let's put it this way. The role of the Pope and the role of the President of the United States are two very different job descriptions. Very different job descriptions. The Pope has the responsibility for teaching Catholic doctrine for the whole world, guiding the church in faith and morals, making governing decisions internal to the church, bearing witness to moral principles in the church's teaching. The President of the United States' job description is to protect the United States, is to govern the United States, not the world, not the church, but the United States of America. And this is where the responsibilities of the office that you're talking about have to be taken into account. So it's not the Pope's position to judge how the President of the United States is doing. That's extremely important to keep in mind. When they did meet, by the way, it was made clear, obviously, that in the arenas of the protection of human life, the right to life, the first right we have, and the protection of the freedom of the Church, the Vatican deeply appreciates the work that President Trump is doing, because in these two areas he has made more progress than anyone else before him. Lots of good news coming out on the economic front. The economy continues to show very strong signs of recovery. In spite of the pandemic, it's shooting back up. Why? We had the strongest economy in our history before this pandemic. Just 7 months ago, strongest economy in our history, strongest economy in the world. And we experienced the smallest contraction economically as a result of the pandemic, and the quickest recovery. So this is something that is crucial. Just the other day, for the first time, the number of people going through security at the airports hit 1 million for the first time since the pandemic. People are getting on the road again. People are starting to travel again. People are flying again. Record high numbers for home builder sentiment is high, at a record high, breaking a record also last month. So all of these are signs that are positive for economic growth. On this last point I just mentioned, above 50 is considered positive for economic growth. Well, September was 80 and October is 85. The economy is rebounding, and it is doing so strongly. We have somebody commenting about things that I'm saying that are fake. Isn't this interesting, friends? Some of you are with me every day on these feeds, and we see once in a while the Biden supporters don't have anything to do because he's all closed up. He put the lid on. So he's not talking to the American people. So I guess you folks that support him, I know, I feel for you. You got nothing to do. You got nowhere to turn to get excited about your candidate, because he's not offering you anything. And so they come here and then they say that what we're saying is fake. Okay, so tell me what the home builder sentiment was, and give me the report that shows that it is not 85 for the month of October. Show me that 1 million passengers. Boy, you have the evidence? Go ahead. The chat is open. Show me how 1 million passengers, in fact, were not screwed. I just made that up, right, off the top of my head. Hey, let's just make them think that more people are traveling, that we're actually not living in fear, like these left-wing lunatics want us to live in fear. No, you want to live in fear. Is that how we responded to 9/11, by the way? See, because that is how the terrorists would have won. They didn't win. Because we decided we're going to live our lives as Americans, and we're going to go about our business, and we're going to go to the shopping malls, and we're going to get on the airplanes, and we're going to live our lives. Have we been taking more precautions since 9/11 of 2001? Of course we have. I don't mind the security at the airport. I don't think it's that much of a burden. And I'm sure all of us feel the same. We're willing to take a little bit of an extra burden to be extra safe. And people are much more on high alert. If you see something, say something. And so, yes, things have changed after 9/11. Things have changed. But as Jessica is saying, it's faith over fear. We live our lives. We take caution. Caution does not equal paralyzing fear. We don't hide behind chairs. We don't huddle in the ground in a corner. We live our lives as free men and women. We accept a certain amount of risk in life. You're going to go out into a shopping mall? Is there a risk that you're going to be a victim of a terrorist attack? Well, if you want to talk in absolute terms, yeah, there's some kind of minuscule risk. There's also a risk when you walk outside of being struck by lightning. There's also a risk when you drive in a car of getting into a car accident. But then again, there's a risk of sitting at home that the roof is going to collapse or that the ground is going to open up in an earthquake or a sinkhole or God knows what, or that an asteroid is going to hit. I mean, where could you ever be? And what could you ever do or avoid doing that eliminates all risk in life? Nobody can answer that question because there's nothing. We always live with risk. Well, we got to determine whether we're going to live our lives as free Americans or not. This president is giving such a great example. At every one of these rallies where he's in, like he was again today, in a state with these Democrat governors like North Carolina and yesterday Pennsylvania, where these Democrat governors are doing exactly what Biden would want to do if he were in the White House, which is, hey, let's shut the country down. Shut it down. He'll lock it down again. Like President Trump said, this is a choice in this election between a Trump resurgence and a Biden lockdown. And, oh, by the way, someone was saying about preaching to the choir. Thank you for that comment. Preach to the choir, but we respect Father, and it's awesome. Yeah, and you know what? This is going way beyond the choir. You guys don't realize the kind of audience we have and the people that we're reaching. We track it very carefully. Plenty of undecided people watching us right now, and plenty of the rest of you that are taking these things out to people that are not in the choir. And by the way, in regard to the choir, I always say, why do choirs gather for choir practice? You gotta practice. We're always getting better so that we can sing the song to the rest of the world. And what a beautiful song we have. Trump resurgence. We live our lives in freedom. So it's amazing, it's amazing how people will just gratuitously say, oh, this stuff is these things, he's lying, he's making these things up, these things are fake. Oh, well, yeah, okay. So, just tell me how, and we'll be awaiting that information. Meanwhile, here's another thing that's not fake. One of these Democrat senators, Coons of Delaware. Delaware. We owe an apology to Delaware because of Joe Biden. But Coons was interviewed by CNN and said this: like Joe Biden, I'm not a fan of expanding the court. This is about the question of whether these people want to add justices to the Supreme Court, because boo-hoo, they lost the election in 2016. Boo-hoo, they lost again in 2018 in the Senate, where we gained seats. And now they're complaining that the people that were duly elected to the White House and to the Senate are doing their job by confirming Amy Coney Barrett to the Senate, to the Supreme Court, which tomorrow the Senate Judiciary Committee will vote. And they will vote to take her now from the committee to the full Senate floor, which the vote will start on Monday, probably take all next week. So what the Democrats are thinking they could do in turn, if they were to get the White House, the Senate, and the House, would be, hey, let's just change the rules and add more justices to the Supreme Court. If we added 6 more justices, well, then you know what we could do? We could just put all at one fell swoop. We could put 6 of our own liberal, wacko people on the court, and then we have a solid majority for a long time to come. So what does Coons say about this? Democrat senator from Delaware. I'm not a fan of expanding the court. We have a few weeks here to see whether, now listen to how this lunatic speaks. Whether there are 4 Republicans who will step back from this precipice. Senator, what you're saying is laughable. Precipice. It's a precipice, brothers and sisters. It's a precipice. We're going to confirm this successful, qualified woman to the U.S. Supreme Court. The process is being followed. Is the process not being followed, Senator Coons? You know something we don't know? The process isn't being followed? Was the hearing not held? The hearing was held. Did the senators not make themselves available for the meetings with the judge? Did she refuse to meet with any senators that wanted to meet with her? Did she fail to answer any questions? What was wrong with the process that it wasn't done constitutionally? Was it not done in enough time? Well, what about John Paul Stevens? Was he a valid judge on the court? You know how long his process took from the time he was nominated to the time he was confirmed? 19 days. 19 days. Ruth Bader Ginsburg took about the same amount of time that Amy Coney Barrett is taking. What are you talking about? Precipice. They're not talking about a precipice, brothers and sisters, that has anything to do with the Constitution or with any contradiction to the Constitution. Coons is talking about the precipice of their pro-abortion ideology going off a cliff. Not America going off a cliff, not the Constitution, but their baby-killing ideology. Yes, Coons, baby killing is what you're responsible for. That's what's going off the cliff, and that's what should go off the cliff. So he goes on to say the Republican majority is responsible for racing forward. Racing? Does the Constitution of the United States, Mr. Coons, have any time frame here, minimum time frame for confirming a justice? And the answer is no, it does not, and you know that full well. Racing in what way? Did they say, oh, let's not have 4 days of hearings, let's have only half a day? Is that what happened? No, that's not what happened either. And when you Democrats, for no good reason whatsoever, insisted on the delay, they could have voted her out of committee last week, but no, you had to wait until this week. You took an extra week. Why? We're racing, right? We're racing. But we took an extra week. Did the Senate, did the Republican majority Senate say, okay, as soon as she's released from committee tomorrow, we got to vote right away? Nobody go home for the weekend, we're going to vote right away? No. No, tomorrow's Thursday. The vote is going to start on Monday. So Thursday goes by, Friday goes by, Saturday goes by, Sunday goes by. Oh yeah, we're racing. Yeah, we're racing. You know, these people are just, they make this stuff up. The Republican majority is responsible for racing forward. Now get this. With this extremely unqualified nominee. Unqualified nominee. And then he explains what he means, because otherwise he looks like a fool to say that she's not qualified in terms of her understanding of the law, her capability to apply the Constitution. No. He says she's unqualified because of her extreme judicial philosophy. Oh, so you want the judge to be a politician. It's not an extreme philosophy to say that a judge applies the Constitution. You heard what Amy Coney Barrett said. A judge applies the Constitution. It's not about what Judge Amy thinks. It's about what the Constitution says. That's what she is saying. And Coons is concerned about her extreme judicial philosophy. Like what? Exactly. Like maybe, for example, there is no right to abortion in the Constitution. Well, she didn't even say that. But you guys are afraid that she'll say that. Okay, so then show us in the Constitution where the word abortion is and where the right to abortion is. Just show us, and then we'll agree that this is extreme. If it's right there and you're denying it, well, that's not good. But you know full well it's not there. And then Senator Coons goes on to say, oh, these people really make me sick. We need to focus on that. And then if we happen to have a President Biden, we have to look at what the right steps are to rebalance our federal judiciary. Oh, you see how upset they are. That most presidents, they don't get a chance to put one Supreme Court justice on the court. Most of them in 2 years' time, like Clinton, Obama, George W. Bush, in not 2 years, in 2 terms, in 8 years' time, get to put only 2 on the court. Here, President Trump is getting near the end of his first term, and he's already put 3. So they're fuming about that. And then Obama left office and left 100 some odd, 142 or something vacancies on the other federal courts, the appellate courts and the district courts. And President Trump came in and said, okay, how many judges do I have to appoint? And they said, sir, we have all these vacancies, over 100 vacancies. 100? What did President Obama do? So now they're fuming at the fact that the philosophy of President Trump and of Senator Mitch McConnell, great Senate Majority Leader that he is, and Senator Lindsey Graham, great Judiciary Committee leader that he is, have said, we're not going to leave any vacancies. When President Trump finishes his first term, there are going to be no vacancies. And so what he's saying is 300 judges are going to be appointed by the time he finishes this year. And so they're fuming about all that. So now Coons says, well, we got to see what we're going to do to rebalance. Now, what in the world, is that a term you got, Senator, from the Constitution someplace? Rebalance the federal judiciary. Is that what you're supposed to be doing? You're not supposed to be rebalancing anything. You're supposed to be assessing the qualifications of the nominee, that's all. If you don't like the philosophy, if you don't like the direction ideologically that the country is taking, that the courts are taking, you know what, Mr. Coons? Go try and win some elections. That's how policy is decided in this country. That's how we decide which direction we're going to go philosophically, ideologically. That's how we decide. Okay? We decide through elections, not through power grabs. That's what Coons is talking about, and that's what Biden and Harris refuse to answer. And we've got to keep pressing them. But friends, most important, press the voters. You've got undecided voters in your family. You've got undecided voters among your coworkers, among your parishioners, believers. You got anybody that's undecided, say to them, okay, do you want a power grab from the Democrats to rush in there and to pack the Supreme Court, meaning add 6, 7, 8 more justices there, all of their mindset, because they don't like the direction the court is taking now. Well, the reason the court is taking the direction it is now is because we won the election. So deal with that, Senator Coons. Get your people and win some elections. We're not stopping you from doing that. Go ahead and try. You see, these people, brothers and sisters, it's unbelievable. It really is. People don't like this idea of the packing of the court, by the way. Most Americans oppose it. Franklin Delano Roosevelt tried to do it. And even though he had a strong majority in the Senate and in the House of Democrats, it was Democrat trifecta back in 1937, they rejected it. We talked about this already, but, we didn't have this interview with Coons when we talked about it last time. But you see how they're unwilling to answer the question. Oh, we'll see what we have to do to rebalance the courts. Rebalance them, sir, between what and what? Rebalance them so that we have more people on the courts who want to have babies killed by abortion? Is there not enough bloodshed? Is that what you want? You want to rebalance the saving of lives with the taking of lives? Is that what you want to rebalance? How about rebalancing religious freedom? Oh yeah, we need to get a lot of rebalancing going on there. Too many court decisions allowing those crosses to stay in the public places, right? Too many of those court decisions saying that when we religious people want to carry out our business according to our faith, too many of these court decisions are saying we can do exactly that. And if we don't want to include abortion in our health insurance, well, we don't have to do that. Oh, we want to rebalance it maybe with a little bit more religious oppression. Is that what you're saying, sir? A little bit more religious oppression is needed in there. Don't let those people of faith go too far, living out their faith. Don't let too many of those crosses go up in the public highways and byways because, that's too much religion coming in. You're going to rebalance the judiciary. Oh, I get it, Senator. I see what you're saying. You want to rebalance how much of your sick left-wing ideology gets imposed on the rest of us. Right, Julia? You don't know me from Adam, Julia. How can you say sick things like you're saying? You're right in there with these Democrats, aren't you? Sick people. We want to rebalance the judiciary. Get a little bit more religious oppression in there. Get a little bit more baby killing in there. Now, these people are sick. Like the president says, he's exactly right. He's exactly right. So, friends, there is a solution here. There's a solution, and I know you're part of the solution. And we're working on it together. We're going to influence voters, going to take this information, pass it along every single day. Go down your list and look at the people that you can influence, and then ask what people can they influence, and let's get this job done. So thanks, friends, for being with me tonight. Really a pleasure to share these things with you, pray with you. I want to give you a blessing now, and then we'll look forward to talking with you again tomorrow. So may the Lord send his Spirit upon you all. May he protect you, your families, answer your prayers, strengthen you in the work you do for the advancement of his kingdom and for the advancement of America. And may Almighty God bless you, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. It's an honor to be joined by you. I appreciate and am grateful for you taking the time. We will talk to you tomorrow.
Hello, I'm Evangelist Alveda King. Day by day, my work with Priest for Life and Father Frank Pavone provides me with many opportunities to speak up for the unborn, whether on television and radio or in conferences with pastors or with government leaders. In order to accomplish all this work, we rely on the donations of individuals like you who believe in this cause and want to help us save lives. May I ask you to support us generously? Go today to prolifegift.org and give as generous a gift as you can. I appreciate it personally and will pray for you each day.
I think we have Richard Lee, we have Jim Garlow, and we have Father Frank Pavone. Someplace they were in the audience, so I appreciate you. I appreciate you being.
Follow him, Father Frank Pavone, Fr. Frank Pavone, on Twitter. He is the National Director of Priests for Life. Please go to priestsforlife.org.